Welcome back to the deep dive where we take your sources and really dig into them. Today we're diving into the world of the Amis people,
Okay.
the largest indigenous group in Taiwan. Whether you're someone who's fascinated by different cultures or maybe you just love learning new things, I think this deep dive is going to broaden your horizons.
Yeah, I think it will too.
We're working with a Wikipedia article that you provided about the Amis people. Right off the bat, it says they represent over a third of the indigenous population in Taiwan.
Yeah.
That's a significant number. And it makes you think, like, what makes their culture so enduring?
I think their resilience is really deeply rooted in their history and social structure. But before we go into that, I think we need to maybe address the two names that you'll often hear when talking about them, Amis and Pangcah.
So, I mean, the same or are they different?
Well, they're often used interchangeably, but there are some subtle distinctions.
Okay.
Pangcah means human or people of our kind, and it's the preferred term for some groups, particularly in the East Rift Valley. It really reflects a strong sense of community and shared identity.
Oh, okay.
Amius, on the other hand, is more widely used overall, especially in coastal areas.
Got it.
And it potentially comes from a word meaning north, maybe connected to their migration patterns.
Interesting. So even their names hint at their history and their geographic distribution.
Yeah.
The article mentions they were an Austronesian ethnic group, which, if I remember correctly, links them to a really vast network of people across Southeast Asia and Oceania.
You are exactly right. And here's a fascinating detail. Their closest genetic relatives are the native Filipino people.
Really?
Yeah.
That's unexpected.
Yeah, it is. And it's this genetic connection across such a vast distance that suggests a complex history of migration and cultural exchange that goes back centuries. You know, imagine the journeys and interactions that must have taken place.
Yeah, it really challenges our understanding of just how connected different cultures have been throughout history.
It does.
Okay, so we have this Austronesian group who are primarily located along the coast of Taiwan.
Right.
What else can you tell me about their traditional way of life?
Well, as you might expect from their coastal location, fishing played a crucial role in their lives. They developed sophisticated fishing techniques and a deep understanding of the ocean and its resources.
So their connection to the sea really shaped their culture.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But what truly sets them apart, I think, is their social structure.
Right.
The Amish traditionally had a matrilineal kinship system.
Wait, what does that mean exactly?
It means that inheritance and property pass through the mother's line, and children are considered part of their mother's family.
Okay.
This is in contrast to many other cultures where lineage is traced through the father.
So a completely different way of organizing family and community.
Right.
It makes you wonder how this impacted their society. Did women have more prominent roles?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Women held significant power and influence in Amis society. They often controlled property and resources and played a vital role in decision-making. Imagine a society where women are the heads of households and the inheritors of family legacies.
Yeah, that's a powerful concept. It challenges our assumptions about gender roles, a structure of power.
For sure.
Okay, so we have this matrilineal society with a deep connection to the sea.
Yeah.
What about their villages? What were those like?
Their villages were relatively large for Taiwanese indigenous communities, typically holding 500 to 1,000 people. This suggests a high level of social organization and cooperation.
It sounds like they had a very strong sense of community.
You're right, and this emphasis on community actually extended beyond the physical boundaries of the village.
Okay.
The article says that the Amis comprise a majority of urban indigenous people in Taiwan today, suggesting they've successfully adapted to modern life while maintaining that strong sense of community and cultural identity.
That's fascinating. Seems like they found a way to navigate the challenges of modernization without losing sight of their roots.
Exactly. It's a testament to their adaptability and resilience.
Yeah.
They've managed to preserve their cultural identity while also embracing change.
The article also mentions that they're classified into 5 groups based on geographic location and migration pattern.
Right.
That seems like a good segue to delve into their cultural practices and traditions. Can you tell me a little bit more about these 5 groups and how they differ?
Certainly. The 5 groups are the Northern, Middle, Coastal, Pangcah, and Hengchen armies.
Okay.
And each group has its own unique characteristics, including variations in language, customs, and even physical appearance.
Wow.
But they all share that common cultural foundation rooted in their shared history and beliefs.
So it's like a family with shared DNA, but different personalities and expressions.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
What about their most famous tradition, the Harvest Festival?
Ah, yes, the Harvest Festival. It's a central celebration in Amis culture. It's a time to give thanks to the gods for a bountiful harvest and to pray for the coming year.
Okay.
It's a joyous occasion filled with feasting, dancing, singing, and reaffirming their connection to the land and their ancestors.
It sounds like a vibrant and very deeply meaningful event.
It is, and it's also an opportunity to showcase their unique clothing and accessories.
Okay.
Traditionally, they used materials like bark, banana threads, linens, and pelts to create their garments.
Those materials sound incredibly diverse.
They are, and over time, they started incorporating cotton that they obtained through trade, which gradually replaced some of those traditional materials. However, the intricate designs and the craftsmanship remained.
So a blending of old and new, attaching to available resources while still maintaining the essence of their cultural attire.
Precisely. Now, here's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
The article mentions a specific item called the alufo, or lover's bag. It's a small bag traditionally made with betel nut by a woman, either a mother or a lover for the man in her life.
That's fascinating. What do they carry in these bags?
They used it to carry betel nut, lime, and smoking pipes.
Oh, wow.
So it was a practical item, but also a symbol of affection and care.
It's amazing how even everyday objects can be imbued with such cultural significance.
Yeah.
Speaking of cultural significance, I noticed something interesting about the colors used in their clothing.
Okay.
The article says there's been a shift from predominantly black to incorporating more red. Do you know why?
Yes, it's a fascinating example of how cultural expression can be influenced by external factors.
Okay.
The increased use of red is attributed to its perceived festiveness and compatibility with ethnotourism.
So tourism is playing a role in shaping their cultural practices.
It seems so. It raises questions about the delicate balance between preserving tradition and adapting to the demands of a globalized world.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
It makes you think about the impact of globalization on indigenous cultures all over the world.
Absolutely. But before we go into that discussion, there's another intriguing detail I have to share.
Okay, now you have my attention. Tell me more.
Well, it turns out that a recording of their chanting was used in the song Return to Innocence by Enigma, which was featured in the 1996 Atlanta Olympics.
Really? I never would have guessed that.
It's a fascinating story that highlights the complexities of cultural appropriation and intellectual property. The use of their chanting without proper attribution or compensation sparked legal issues.
So a case where artistic expression clashed with the rights of indigenous communities,
Yeah,
it makes you wonder how often this happens without us even knowing about it.
right. It's a reminder that cultural elements aren't just sounds or images.
Yeah,
They carry a deep meaning and they deserve to be respected.
okay.
It seems that despite all of these challenges, the Amish people have made significant contributions to Taiwanese society.
Yeah.
The article mentions notable Amish individuals in various fields, including athletes, singers, and politicians.
Can you give me some examples?
Of course, there's Aylin, a renowned singer and songwriter,
Okay.
Kustin Chun, an Olympic gold medalist in weightlifting,
Wow.
and Suming, a talented actor, singer, and songwriter who incorporates elements of traditional Amish culture into his music.
It's inspiring to see them excelling in so many different areas while still honoring their heritage.
It speaks to their adaptability and resilience. They've managed to integrate into mainstream society while maintaining a strong sense of cultural identity.
Their story is really captivating. I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
We have.
Well, it seems like we have a lot more ground to cover in this deep dive. I'm ready to keep going whenever you are.
Me too. I think their ability to adapt and thrive really speaks to a fundamental aspect of understanding any culture. We need to look beyond the surface.
What do you mean by that? Look beyond the surface.
I think it's easy to get caught up in the exotic elements of a culture. You know, the clothing, the festivals, the music.
Right.
But to really grasp the essence of a people, we need to understand their values, their beliefs, and the social structures that shape their worldview.
So it's about understanding the why behind the what.
Exactly. And with the Amish people, that why is deeply rooted in their connection to the land, their ancestors, and their community.
Okay.
It's a holistic way of life that emphasizes balance and harmony.
I'm curious to know how this worldview translates into their daily lives.
Okay.
Are there any specific examples?
Sure, their traditional fishing practices are a great example.
Okay.
They have a deep respect for the ocean and its resources.
Right.
And their fishing methods were designed to ensure sustainability,
Okay.
not just taking from the sea, but also giving back and ensuring the well-being of future generations.
It sounds like a very mindful and responsible approach to utilizing natural resources.
It is, and this sense of responsibility extends to their relationship with the land as well.
Okay.
Their agricultural practices are based on a deep understanding of natural cycles and a respect for the delicate balance of the ecosystem.
So a very different approach from the large-scale industrial farming methods that we see in many parts of the world today.
You could say that. The Amish approach is more about working with nature rather than trying to dominate it.
Got it.
And this philosophy is also reflected in their social interactions.
Okay.
They place a high value on community cooperation and mutual respect.
Okay.
Decision-making is often done through consensus, and there's a strong emphasis on sharing and supporting one another.
So a culture that prioritizes the collective good over individual gain.
Precisely, and this difference in values is something we really need to be mindful of as we interact with cultures different from our own.
Yeah.
Learning about the Amish people isn't just about expanding our knowledge. It's about gaining insights into alternative ways of living, organizing society, and relating to the world around us.
Yeah, it's a reminder that there are many different ways to be human. There are many different paths to a fulfilling life.
Exactly, and the Amish people, with their rich history, their vibrant culture, and unique worldview, offer us a glimpse into a way of life that's both ancient and remarkably relevant to the challenges we face today.
Speaking of challenges you mentioned earlier, the complexities of balancing tradition and modernity.
Right.
How are the Amish people navigating these challenges in the 21st century?
It's a complex issue, as you can imagine.
Yeah?
They face pressures to assimilate into mainstream Taiwanese society.
Right.
This includes adopting new technologies, economic systems, social norms. The forces of globalization are at play here just as they are everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, and I imagine for younger generations, there's the allure of urban life with its opportunities and conveniences, which might lead to a disconnect from traditional ways of life.
That's true. But alongside these pressures, there's also a growing movement among the Amish people to preserve their language, their cultural practices, and traditional knowledge.
So a pushback against assimilation, a reclaiming of their heritage. What are some of the specific ways they're doing this?
Well, they're establishing cultural centers, museums, educational programs to teach younger generations about their history, language, and traditions.
Okay.
There's also a growing movement to incorporate indigenous knowledge and perspectives into the mainstream education system.
It sounds like they're actively taking steps to ensure their culture thrives for generations to come.
They are, and this movement is gaining momentum with increasing support from both within the Khmer community and from the Taiwanese government.
Wow.
Their story demonstrates a commitment to ensuring that their culture continues to thrive.
It's truly inspiring to see their dedication to preserving their heritage in a rapidly changing world.
It is.
It highlights the importance of cultural diversity and the need to protect and celebrate the unique contributions of indigenous communities around the world.
For sure.
The Amis are just one example of the many indigenous cultures that enrich our planet.
Their story reminds us that we have much to learn from those who have lived in harmony with nature and each other for centuries.
Right.
It's a call to broaden our perspectives, challenge our assumptions, and embrace the richness and complexity of human experience.
Yeah.
As we continue to explore the world around us, let's approach other cultures with curiosity, respect, and a willingness to learn.
I agree. It seems we've only just begun to uncover the depth and beauty of the Amish people's story.
We have.
What should we explore next in this deep dive?
Well, a great next step would be to delve into their music and their art.
Okay.
Their traditional songs and dances are not only beautiful, but they also offer a window into their beliefs and value.
Right.
There are many talented Amish musicians and artists sharing their work with the world. You can find their music online, attend their concerts, or even visit their communities to experience their art firsthand.
I love that idea. Immersing ourselves in their art would definitely deepen our understanding and appreciation of their culture.
For sure. And for those who want to go even deeper, there are books and academic articles that delve into their history and traditional knowledge, and don't underestimate the power of personal connections either.
Right.
If you have the opportunity to interact with Amish people, take the time to listen to their stories, ask questions, and learn from their experiences.
It's true. Sometimes the best way to understand a culture is to engage with the people who live it. I'm already picturing myself attending a festival or ceremony. What an incredible experience that would be.
Yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's get back to the matter at hand. There's still more to uncover about the Amish people right here in this deep dive. Yeah, it seems like every layer we peel back reveals even more depth and complexity to the Amish people's story. What I find most inspiring is their commitment to carrying their traditions forward.
Right. It's a reminder that learning about another culture is a continuous journey. It's not about memorizing facts. It's about developing a deeper understanding and appreciation for the diverse ways that humans experience the world.
Yeah, it challenges us to see the world through different lenses and question our own assumptions.
Exactly. The more we learn about other cultures, the more we discover about ourselves and our place in the world.
Yeah.
The honest people in particular offer us valuable insights into resilience, adaptation, and the strength of cultural identity in a world that's constantly changing.
What would you say is the most important takeaway from our deep dive today?
I think it's the Amish people's ability to maintain a strong sense of who they are despite facing so many challenges throughout their history.
Yeah.
They have adapted to changing circumstances while preserving those core values and traditions that define their culture.
Yeah, it's a powerful message about the human spirit's capacity to endure and thrive even in the face of adversity.
For sure, their story is an inspiration for us all to value and protect our own cultural heritage, to learn from other cultures, and to work towards a world that celebrates and respects diversity.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today, from their fascinating history and their unique social structure to their vibrant cultural expressions and their ongoing efforts to safeguard their heritage.
We've only just scratched the surface. There's always more to explore, more to learn.
To our listeners, if this deep dive sparked your interest, we encourage you to continue exploring.
Yeah.
Seek out Amish music, art, and literature.
Sure.
Learn more about their history and their unique perspectives on the world.
And if you ever get the chance to visit Taiwan, make it a point to experience their culture firsthand.
Yeah, it sounds like a truly enriching experience. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of the Amish people.